which of course is a Southgate Media Group podcast dedicated to all things Heroes Prime and Heroes Reborn related things. I'm Lilith, and with me trying to stop the Healy, hopefully he doesn't blow up like Luke, is...
It's me, Heroes apologist Ricky, and here we are for another roundtable with our favourite three people once again. So give it up for Ty.
Thank you.
Shannon.
Hi!
And Daniel.
Greetings.
Awesome. So I think I know where this podcast is going to go. I have just from the minor seconds we had to begin with, and from reading some of your tweets and or articles, let's just get right into it. So we already talked about the first half of the season. We're gonna kind of maybe talk about the back half of the season, but more than likely we're just gonna focus on the finale. So
you mean we talked about the first 3/4 of the season?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, yeah. So
or 80%. I don't know how that actually works out too.
Yeah.
But
so we'll start off with the bad, or the we'll just call it, for you guys, we'll just call it the finale. Who wants to start? Daniel, go on. Make a start.
Oh, okay. So okay. I'm just gonna assume we all went into this just assuming it was this series finale, right? Just like
definitely.
Yes.
They did not. I mean, there was all that stuff that came out like the same day. Oh, we got more coming. So I didn't, going into it, I didn't know what kind of mindset I was supposed to have. But I think the majority of my mind was like, oh, this is the end. And then there's that final 3 minutes, 2 minutes? Yeah. There was just like, there's thought there was going to be more.
Yeah.
And so this was hard to I was ready for it to be the end, but they clearly thought they were getting more, and it didn't help my viewing experience that I didn't know what I was watching.
Do you think if they had cut the final 3 minutes and just ended it with Quentin's speech, you would have been more satisfied? Or
I think that maybe if you end it on the cut to black with Melina Nathan hovering over HRG's dead body, maybe you can just end it there. I don't know. That final 3 minutes felt so tacked on. And I didn't even realize it until Craig Byrne, who runs Hero Site, told me, why was Angela young again?
Yeah.
In that final scene. So there's lots to talk about.
Okay. So, do you want to talk about the final 3 minutes, I guess, Ty?
Yeah, I mean, going into it like everybody else, I was like, this is it. It's done. And they knew it was done. And I don't know how long ago they filmed the episode, but it just made me sad. Like, oh, okay, they're obviously sticking something in here at the end. Like, if we get something more, great, but I didn't have a problem with the sort of, Rocky's montage where you have the, Ren and Miko are training and this and that. And, Tommy, or Nathan, I should say, they're all happy at the ice cream shop and all that business. That was fine. But it was like, oh, come on. Yeah. We're never going to know who the father is. We're never going to know what's going on here. So why do that to us?
For me, it just fanned the flames on everyone's Sylar theory, which kind of annoys me. But Shannon, much like an E-review, did you watch just the beginning and just the end?
I still don't understand that Online review. That boggles my mind. I watched the first episode and the last, and I'm confused. Okay, well,
I haven't watched Heroes either, so yeah, let's just go with that.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, I think actually, Ty, that was a perfect way to put it. That I'm just sad. I'm just so sad. I feel like, I don't know, like I went to the actual premiere in Toronto of the series. So like all I keep thinking of is like, I was so excited that day. Like it went so well and everyone was super psyched and like there was so much potential. And then like, I mean, even apart from the finale, I mean, I didn't like the second to last episode.
Yeah.
I didn't like the finale. I'm so disappointed. I'm so bummed out about it.
Me, as the quote-unquote heroes apologist, I didn't like the little tacked on bit at the end either. So I've always heard it's going to have a beginning, middle, and end, and that's it. So even I was a bit annoyed by that. But Lilith has her ways of explaining it to me to try and make me feel better. So
I'd like to hear that.
go on, Lilith.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Make us feel better.
Oh, way to put me on the spot. Well, no, I don't think that they necessarily have to focus on the twins. But I feel like the twins is going to be another ebook or something like that. I think that's what that's about. And then they also had like all the little vignettes or the different little branches that they could go if they did want to keep some of the cast members. I think they should keep Team POC and kind of start the next one, which is Farrah, Carlos, Lucius, and Micah, if you guys don't know, to do their own little thing because they got so shafted in this series. They got a mission, they got it accomplished, but we only got 2 scenes of them in the finale.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, that was I laughed to myself pretty good. It's like they did not need to be in that episode at all. Like they go to that hospital and then that's it, and then there's that thing at the end. So
Definitely. So who wants to bring up anything else? Ty or Shannon?
Watching the finale, I had to wonder if the writers wrote all 13 episodes at once or if they started to change things towards the end, because there was a bunch of stuff that suddenly was possible in the finale. Oh, memories are timeless, and you can remember things that the Haitian made you forget suddenly, and you can be in 2 places at once suddenly. Like, what?
I think from the interviews,
Evolution.
yeah, I think from the interviews we've had, they were still writing quite a bit, and I think that they always had that kind of Evernow thing planned, because just in my opinion, I think they've always had that Evernow planned, and that to be the kind of ultimate payoff to it. Personally, I didn't mind that whole Evernow thing. It gave us a reason for us to get kind of quote unquote Nathan back, and I really, really enjoyed the image of him looking at the memory board, for lack of a better word. So seeing him in 2 different places, they kind of hinted at the fact that he was more powerful than Hero, and what else? Lilith hates me.
Where did Hero go? We didn't see him at all in the finale, other than the flashback. Yeah,
him and Harris are just living quietly, waiting for Anne to come back. Then he'll kill Harris, and him and Anne will ride off into the sunset. So yeah. But Daniel, what did you think about the whole adding of the extra things at the end? The whole, Evernow kind of aspect and stuff like that.
Oh, the memory board thing, if that's what we're gonna call it, that was cool. That was like the best sequence of the entire episode, especially when he's seeing his younger self watching Claire jump from the Ferris wheel and stuff, which I actually I got emotional at that scene, because that felt like a genuine cool moment. At first, I actually thought they were going to be watching news coverage of like the explosion or whatever over Kirby Plaza from the end of season 1. That was my first gut. Oh, they're gonna be watching that, and I don't get why Hero wasn't watching it with them.
Because he wasn't available. He was in Hawaii, obviously.
But that's something they could have filmed when he was on set filming those other 3 episodes, you would think. But I think that whole memory board stuff was cool. But I haven't been a fan of the Evernow stuff since the beginning. It just felt. I still think that the whole Evernow thing and Miko was their like last minute write up because they couldn't get Masaoka for more episodes. That I've thought that since pretty early in the season. And it was just so hard for me to invest in literally a storyline about something that in a character that doesn't exist, that's not real. It's just a computer program. So
I'll try and not make this better, but I'll try and let you see where kind of the writers were coming from, because we talked to a couple, and I think Tim always had in his what was it that he said, Lilith? He always had the idea that he wanted someone to be kind of come to life from drawings. That's where it was originally meant to be, I believe. And then that idea kind of evolved into Evernow. I know that doesn't make it any better, but you know, it's better than what is it? What's that Pokemon Sketch that kind of, you know, draws things and comes to life? So yeah, we'll go with that. Shannon, what did you think about the whole kind of memory board, or just Evernow in general?
I don't know. It's almost hard for me to. This is going to sound really harsh when I say it, but it's almost hard for me to kind of take anything seriously at this point, because I then was just so bad that I'm kind of like I'll admit that I wasn't completely on board with Evernow at the beginning either, but I was like, all right, maybe this will pay off in a really awesome way, and it didn't. So I don't know. I mean, I guess that maybe it was one of the better parts of the episode, but I don't really feel like it made any sense.
That's fine. Lilith, do you have any thoughts?
I really did not enjoy the Interstellar reference, at all, because that's the part of Interstellar where everything went to hell. So for you to actually use that actual part, you're just like, oh, did you even watch the movie?
Oh, it was just a visual reference. I mean, which it was a cool effect, which I actually liked. But I don't think it was like ripping necessarily off Interstellar. It wasn't the same plot device, I don't think.
All it needed was books, is all that I'm saying.
But what do you think about Angela had the Haitian there?
Yeah.
And she was going to wipe the kid's memories. So I don't know if it was like a weird Evernow thing where suddenly you can access memories that were wiped by the Haitian or what. But how does he suddenly remember this stuff?
I think it's the way that they kind of explained it is time isn't a straight line. It's a kind of circular, and memories are timeless. And so as he's in the kind of Evernow kind of fortress, for lack of a better word, and he's getting to know his powers a lot better, he was able to kind of remember more and more stuff because of the kind of time dilation. The way that I've explained it to Lilith, and she hates it, but if you think about the episode The Wall, where Sylar and Peter are trapped in that place, and they're trying to break down the wall. To them, it's like a span of years, but to the real world, it's only half a day. And that's essentially what's happened in Evernow. He's learning all these things, and it's taking a long time for him. He's able to go to practice and all that kind of stuff. But whereas in the real time, it's literally the matter of 10 minutes. But yeah, that kind of help.
I buy that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Circular memories? More like circular logic, right?
Fair enough. Okay, so Shannon, let's go with you then. Well, which one of the many things that I know that you are going to bring up are you going to bring up first?
Oh, there's so many things. I mean, well, I guess the first thing I want to say, because I actually tweeted about this after the episode, I think that the cast itself was great with what it was given. I honestly liked the cast. I think that everyone's very talented. I think they're all good actors, which kind of makes me sadder, but let's get over that. Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know where to start. I mean, like I said, I mean, my disappointment kind of started with the second to last episode, and then I was hoping that they were going to pull it together for the last one, and then I literally just I mean, it was a hot mess. It was a hot mess.
Let's talk about what I believe you want to talk about in the previous episode, because we had a discussion about it. Me and Lilith talked about it quite a bit. Sure. So yeah, let's just get the elephant out of the room. Do you want to...
Let's get it out of the room. Sure. Obviously, I mean, the whole, sexual assault storyline with Erica, I thought was just awful. Not only did I feel like it was kind of just rushed in there and definitely just thrown in for a plot device. I mean, like, it was way too late to throw that kind of thing in. And I know it was supposed to, I know it was supposed to kind of be like an homage to Company Man, but it was not Company Man. Like, it was not.
There was no point in calling that that Company Woman, like, at all. If you're going to call it Company Woman, make the flashbacks in black and white at least.
Right.
And have more than 4 flashbacks spread out over the hour.
But it's also the fact that Erica wasn't and never was HRG. Like, HRG in the first series was, I don't know, like, he was interesting.
He's morally gray. She's evil.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't know about him, and that's what made him more interesting. Like, she is just flat out awful. So to throw in the second to last episode something that was trying to make her, I guess, make her more human or whatever they were trying to do, I thought was a terrible decision. And to do it in the way that they did was just awful. Like, it was, I mean, like I said, I was like offended by it. Like, it wasn't just me being like, okay, this is a stupid idea, even though it was. There was also like a level of like, guys, like, you could have picked any other reason for her to be human and you had to go there. Like, did anyone at NBC even look at this and say, maybe this isn't such a good idea? I don't know.
Well, they were like, be true to the original series, because, I mean, how many times did one lady almost get raped? And I was just like, it just felt like they just kept trying to push the envelope until finally NBC said, you know what, you guys want to do that? Because seriously, every season, and we use, like, dude, how many episodes have we said #rapey? It is crazy.
And I just don't, I think that was, I mean, just to kind of end what I'm saying here, I think all around, in every way imaginable, that was just a poor decision.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That episode, that, like, okay, when you think about Company Man, when did that come in during season 1? That was like, was it halfway?
17. It was like quite near the end. It was 17.
So,
but it
like,
should have been sooner, though.
At least make the Company Woman like the episode before the June 13th stuff, maybe. But one thing about Company Man was, like, the flashbacks were spread out over years. The flashbacks in Company Woman were like a year and a half, maybe. You don't. The only thing you get from that episode is why she hates Evos, not how she got to become Erica Kravitz.
Yeah.
So there's such a lot that episode needed, and it didn't do any of it.
Definitely.
Well, and I also think that, like, I mean, with HRG in the original series, excuse me, you could always tell that he cared about Claire. Like, even whatever decisions he made, like, they were pretty much all for her. Like, yeah, he had like morally gray areas, but for the most part, you could tell he cared. With Erica, she hasn't cared about her daughter, like, pretty much the entire series. Like, all she's cared about is the twins. And so for all of a sudden in the second to last episode, just like throw in, oh, I did everything for my daughter. No, you didn't. Like, you haven't even been together for the entire series. You haven't mentioned her. Like, all you care about are these 2 kids. If you loved your daughter that much, like they're trying to say that she does, she would have at least been like, okay, can we find her? Can we get her to me? Like, I'm worried about her. Can we figure out what's going on? And, like, she definitely wouldn't have killed someone that her daughter loves. Like, that's just not how it was a mess.
Ty?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hated that episode. And, too little, too late. We'd already spent, 11 episodes before basically being told that we need to hate this woman because she's evil and she only cares about herself and her plan and all this business. And then suddenly, second to last episode, oh, we should care what her backstory is. Nope, sorry, too late, too little. And it was creepy. Yeah, old doctor guy raping her. She keeps the child, and then he comes back and he's like, oh, gee, that looks like my kid. I'm going to keep it. Oh, no, I'm going to kill you. Like, what? It was horrible. But the one nice thing about that episode was seeing a young Casper. That was cool.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool.
Thank you for going with my theory, Ricky.
Was his
They should have
voice
just let it be about Joanne if it was going to be an awful episode.
was Casper's voice dubbed
It
over?
was, yeah,
Okay.
blatantly.
That's okay. That's what I thought.
I can't defend this episode. I'm still I still don't really know what to make of it. So, yeah,
Okay.
I think there's only two things that he could have done with this episode, which was make it earlier and not call it Company Woman. I think if you had taken away the title, a lot of people wouldn't have been as angry about it. I think the thing is, if you're creating Heroes and Heroes Reborn and they're meant to be two separate entities, then don't make the titles homages. Like, you can have Easter eggs planted in between and like kind of characters coming, but to kind of set yourself up to that kind of standard of Company Man, probably one of the best episodes that everyone mentions whenever they're talking about their favorite episodes. They shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right.
That's like a top 3 episode
Definitely.
of all of them.
Oh,
It brings so many expectations. So,
So,
but speaking of Company Man and HRG, I think the most egregious thing from the final 3 episodes
is that he isn't in it?
is taking the character you based your entire marketing around in the lead up to the series in the first half of the series, and then him being gone until for the final 2 3/4 episodes. It's just I don't understand. It's like I seriously, after the June 13th episodes, I don't think they had any idea where they were going. And they had no idea what to do with certain characters, and for some reason they had no idea what to do with Noah Bennett, which is a shame because he was the best part of the season. Like he knew. I think Jack Coleman just outside of just playing that character, he knows how to present the material, and he made everything he did believable, which not everyone else could do.
Fair enough.
But his I can't believe, we were 30 minutes into the finale. It's like, where in the world is Jack Coleman? So I think that's the most egregious thing they did for the final 3 episodes.
Shannon?
Yeah, that was not the best decision by any means whatsoever. He's so important, and he's essentially what got the older fans back in, because I feel like if they had just had all these new people, the people who watched before would have been like, well, he's so important, and to just not, and I don't know. There's a whole thing I can get into, because I was kind of freaking out that they even that he had to be the one to make the sacrifice. I think was terrible. I don't understand why it had to be him, and I don't understand how. I don't know.
Who else would it be without it? Because it had to be a sacrifice, and the only person that would do that would be him.
They could have grabbed Erica.
That would be
somebody had to die.
That would have been murder.
Okay. So
that's the big argument, is that it totally would have been murder. Yes, and I totally agree with that. But she has been talking about sacrifice for the entire series, and I can't even get into it.
Here's my take on it. Sorry, Ty, we'll get to you about HRG not being in the final 3, but I rewatched it a couple of times, and I think I missed this out on the kind of first watch. But basically, Tommy took HRG and made him watch what needed to be done. In that moment, HRG knew what needed to be done. Whilst he was watching, Tommy was basically going into the other timelines, and basically, when Hero in June 13th looks into all the other timelines and he flips about from space to space, that's basically what he was doing, only to see what would happen in the future if whoever the conduit was. So he basically knew that the smallest butterfly that wouldn't affect anything happening would be HRG. And if he hadn't used HRG, HRG would have literally just died because car falling on top of him. So instead of killing him in a kind of chumpish kind of way, he gave him that kind of hero's ending. And you've got to also take into account HRG's kind of not been allowed to. He wasn't able to save Claire as much as he tried.
That was what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It's
he wasn't able to save Claire, but he was able to save the grandchildren, the kind of final legacy of Claire, and that was his kind of heroic moment, like kind of coming full circle, and that's basically what I took from it. So.
But at the same time, I just want to say at the same time, when Angela said it was a faceless person, I'm saying it could have been anyone. When she said that, I'm just saying.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. Just totally undid everything I said, but yeah. Ty, let's talk about the final 3 episodes, sans HRG, only to kill him off at the end.
Well, you're like our therapist, because I buy that now, why it had to be HRG. But it also, for me, like, okay, there definitely is not going to be another season because they just killed off their main guy.
Yeah.
And, Daniel brings up the whole marketing thing. Yeah, he was front and center in a lot of those posters and whatever, and you killed him off. So he's not going to be in another season.
I have no problem with him getting killed off, but just him being gone for that as long as he was.
Oh, yeah. And then he shows up again and he gets killed.
Once again, I'm going to try my best. So Heroes and Heroes Reborn are meant to be 2 different things. Essentially, Heroes Reborn is meant to be a reboot. Sorry, I have to say this every time. So Heroes Reborn is essentially a reboot that they're using characters from the old one to kind of tell stories. HRG obviously was the main focus of the series and the marketing, but I think like that he was pushed as the kind of face of the show, but that's to kind of Heroes fans. Heroes fans will be like, oh, it's time to get back on board. But they also did heavily push Zachary Levy, Zachary Levy, and to a certain extent, when the trailers started coming out, Ryan Guzman, and that's one of the,
we all know how that
I know
turned out.
exactly, and that's one of the things that kind of confused me, like who was the kind of second lead, but that's that kind of marketing push that you were talking about.
Well, I think that kind of killing off HRG within the 13 episode arc of this show kind of, and focusing on the twins towards the end, if there was going to be another season, then it would obviously be entirely new characters, nobody from the old show.
Yeah.
And they really put their cards, pardon the pun, on the twins, moving forward. So, would people watch it? I don't know.
Danica does not have time.
Robbie might not have time for it either, honestly.
Yeah. Danica's busy trying to be Jack Reacher's daughter. Daniel, sorry.
Like, there's no original character. Okay, how many original characters are left now if they do somehow continue it? There's
no one really apart from Angela. There's
Angela. There's Micah. I'm assuming Matt Partman's still at the bottom of that ravine yelling. Unless he like bled out or something.
We didn't see Hero die, so
we didn't see any original characters die except
Molly.
HRG. Oh,
Molly.
Okay, yeah, and Molly. Okay, yeah, those.
Mohinder.
No, we didn't see Mohinder die. We saw the explosion, but we never saw it.
That's what I tried to tell Lilith, but she's...
No, House of M is dead. It's dead to me. That's all I have to say about it.
Lilith is the one who loves the three M's, and I'm the one who's trying to tell her, and she's like, no, it's done. I'm not having any more. So yeah.
Claire's dead. The Haitian's apparently maybe just still walking away.
He's going back to his house, and then he'll be like, oh, I'm here?
I'm home now.
Okay, so maybe I'll go see Micah now, which is a real shame because I was really looking forward to seeing those two in a scene together because they haven't ever been in a scene together that I remember. So, but yeah, that's just me.
Well, and that brings up a point. Micah was criminally underused.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, he was like trapped at, Parkman had him at Stonehurst Manor, and there was this big mission to rescue him, and then he like puts something out on a couple of TVs, and he puts the power on at the hospital, and then he's done.
Yeah.
What? He was the leader of,
Yeah.
But
Shannon, do you have any thoughts on criminally underused Micah?
I agree. I think a lot of the characters were either underused or not. Their conclusion wasn't satisfying for me. I threw stuff. Just for Quentin, I was very upset. So, but going back to Micah, I keep going back to the web series. Oh my God, Dark Matters.
Yeah.
Which was so good.
Yep.
And he wasn't in it that much either, but it was okay because it was so good.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, I don't know, what happened? Where were the people who did Dark Matters? Why didn't something I guess I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily so bad to have the original characters feature less. I think that's okay. But if you're going to do that, you have to have the storyline be good enough to support that. And that's why it makes it even worse, I think, to all of us that we're okay, well, what happened to the Haitian? What happened to Hero? What happened to Mohinder? Where did all these people go? What is going on? Because I mean, quite honestly, the story didn't back it up. Everything was kind of unsatisfying. So of course it's going to make it 10 times worse that, yeah, Micah turned on the power in the last episode, and that's basically all he did. So yeah, it's definitely not a good thing.
Daniel?
Yeah, he was. I mean, like I said, him, Carlos, Invisible Woman, and Annoying Cousin shouldn't even have been in the final episode. There was no point in having them there. It's just, I guess they were there just to fill time. But I mean, there's other characters that I feel ripped off on more than him. I want, instead of an Erica Kravitz episode, give me an episode on Harris.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or a comic book.
Or comic book, but
they're floating.
Yeah.
The episode or Game Over. There's that moment where HRG's trying to talk Harris down, and Harris lowers the gun because he's actually thinking about it for a moment. Play off of that moment. That would have been a good thing to follow up on, and it's just nope. He's just gonna be this mindless henchman who gets his head cut off.
I've always said that you've got the Heroes universe, which is the games, the comics, the books, the TV series, and I think if they want to branch out into something else, audio dramas, and have Harris be the lead of that, because that voice is just so smooth, and I think it would be the perfect kind of thing for that kind of character, especially because, well, no, just the actor, because his voice, Jesus Christ, that's so...
It is really cool.
I was just going to say, if you look at, speaking of branching off and exploring characters more, if you look at the comic books, the first one is about Carlos.
And that feels like they cut a lot of stuff out of the show because they knew that they had the comic book coming out. So
yeah, and the next one coming out is going to be about Farah. So, they're focusing on this whole group of people that kind of got pushed to the side in the show.
And yeah.
Can we get a Casper comic? Because I might read that.
Oh yeah, I think there's a lot that can be done because he's basically been working for Primatech. He's been behind the scenes the whole time. So, do we have any more gripes?
Yes, many.
Go.
I don't know where to start.
Okay.
Well, how do you feel about Luke's journey?
Which ends with him rising up into the heavens like Jesus.
He did kind of tell us that in an interview once. So.
Yeah. I just, honestly, I mean, it's hard for me to even... I think my gripe just across the board is that none of the conclusions were satisfying to me. I didn't like any of them. There was not one of the characters I was like, you know what? I feel closure. I feel okay. This was a good decision. No, I didn't like one dismissal or whatever of any of the characters. I didn't like Joanne's. I didn't like Quentin's. I didn't like... Phoebe's was okay because I just really wanted her dead because she was a scary emo brat. But this is so harsh. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
But I didn't like it. I mean, even with Luke, it's kind of I just thought all of a sudden he could fly. Shouldn't that have been somewhere in the episodes?
I'm taking that as a kind of Johnny Flame on kind of thing, but that's just me.
I just didn't. I was like, what? That was kind of just my reaction to everything that happened in that last episode. I was just like, what is happening? What? His whole thing. I mean, specifically with Luke. His whole thing was protecting Melina. That was his purpose. That had become his purpose. So he's basically going to throw her in a closet with Quentin, who just turned over. Yes, he saved her life, but who knows, and just basically throw her in a closet and be like, let's see what happens if I just stand outside while this solar flare is coming. And then, ta-da! Just so coincidentally, he could fly all of a sudden and was able to stop the first solar flare, which actually I did kind of call that before the episode even. I thought that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. I just thought that it was going to be explained quite a bit better. Yeah, I just wasn't, I don't know. I just wasn't satisfied with any of it. I hate that Quentin is in jail. I don't understand why he needs to be in jail. He was almost like, other than HRG, he was like one of the MVPs of the whole series to me. He was always entertaining. I always liked him. I didn't like that he went evil for a while, but whatever. And then he's in jail.
I was talking to Lilith about this earlier, and apart from the initial reveal of him being quote unquote evil, he wasn't really that evil if you think about it. Like, he was always there in the background just talking to Phoebe and trying to get her to kind of change her mind.
Right.
But yeah, I was a big fan of him coming back, and then being evil kind of broke my heart. But then I was fine with it because I knew he'd get his little time to shine. But Ty, let's go with Luke. Luke, what did Shannon bring up? Luke, Phoebe, Quentin's kind of
everybody.
Yeah. Well, I was actually working on my recap and review of the finale this morning, and I suddenly realized that the feeling I had at the end of this episode was like when Heroes went off the air unexpectedly. It just, I had that same feeling of like, what? So many questions, and they're not going to get answered, So, I mean, Luke all of a sudden decides, oh, I'm going to ditch you now because we're close to the tower. And there happens to be this like metal bunker I can stick you in that you'll be protected in, and I suddenly know that, if I like fly up into the sky and blow up, I'll, absorb the first wave, like that just seemed like out of nowhere. Yeah. And I've been rooting for Phoebe to get shot for about 5 episodes now, so I'm glad that she finally got shot and fell out the window. Like, see ya, And Joanne, as much as I hated her, that just seemed really abrupt. Like, boom, she's fried and done.
Another character that they had no idea what to do with after the June 13th episodes.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah,
suddenly she shows up and it's like, oh, we're going to send you there. And the funny thing was, Luke watches Joanne like fire 4 shots into apparently Melina, and he fries her, and then he goes over there and he's like looking at her, and it's like, never mind the fact that the girl that you're supposed to be saving the world with just apparently got shot 5 times. You're like, oh, I got to go check my wife's ashes, like what?
That's excusable because it is his wife.
Yeah.
Melina's some girl he met like 3 days ago.
True.
Who also did save his life, so.
I think it was more of a shock thing, like, oh my god, what did I just do?
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh yeah, there's other stuff on.
And then he turned around like, oh yeah, she got shot too.
It kind of played out like a gut reaction to shooting her, or firing her, but yeah.
And Farrah is perfectly fine after getting shot like 4 times in the gut.
It was just once.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Go on, Daniel.
She did fire off like, I think 4, but I think those were kind of like aimless shots, and I think she only got actual 1 that was aimed directly at Melina. But I've only watched it once, so I don't know. But him frying Joanne, that was like, I think I spaced out for a moment because the fact that it happened was like, wait, what? It's over? Okay, moving on then, I guess.
Yeah.
They didn't know what to do with her after the June 13th episode.
How about Luke, Phoebe, and Quentin's kind of endings?
Phoebe, I'm glad she was gone. She was annoying. Quentin, I don't know why Quentin's in jail. He got a nice speech.
Homeland Security is what I took from it. He won't tell them things about the Evos, and Evos are a threat to Homeland Security.
Lame.
Yes, lame. I'm just trying to help out here.
I know.
Trying to reason this out.
Well, I think the funniest thing about Luke's death is that as soon as that scene was over and he vaporized, it went to commercial break, and like the first commercial was a commercial for the next show he's gonna be on. That telling off, I was like, I thought, oh,
he's
okay,
still around on our network, so yeah.
So I thought that was kind of ironic coincidence, like. Oh, and if you liked what he did on Heroes, here he is in our telenovela series coming next week. It was a weird placement for that ad, but
Okay.
but yeah.
So here I come with my trying to make everything better, but probably won't. So we've already explained about Quentin, but I think Quentin's kind of journey throughout the whole thing was to find his sister, and as he found his sister, he realized it wasn't the same person that he knew back in. To me, it was someone going off to college, coming back and completely changing, and that's what happened. She went off to college, got culted, and came back a completely different person. So it was him figuring out over the course of the last couple of episodes that this isn't his sister anymore. She's too far gone, and I think even she realized that, like towards the end, that she was too far gone. She was, someone, she knew that she had done too much and there was no redeeming her. And as much as it pains me, because I really was hoping for a redemption for her, which I knew wasn't coming, Quentin has been tasked with looking after, he's got a mini HRG role for about 5 minutes, which he kind of fails because, Melina gets captured, and he does what he has to do. He sacrifices his sister because he knows the greater good of the world is her being dead because she's psycho. And yeah, Luke going up into the air, I think it happened far too quickly. But at the end of the day, they had an hour to deal with. We always knew that there was going to be 2 solar flares. So when they first announced the kind of solar flares, I was like, oh, so one's going to destroy America and one's going to destroy the world. Well, the one destroying America, that's the one that they're going to worry about because, it's America and we're an American TV show. So yeah, I kind of expected they were just going to deal with the first one, and the second one was actually going to be, Luke being the second solar flare, but that didn't happen. But we always knew that there was going to be 2 reasons to kind of save the world. So Luke kind of was going through this journey of, he's done all these bad things. He's on the inside the Eclipse. He said, I was prosecutor and redeemer in the same kind of arc. And he kind of, like HRG, he could either have gone out as a chump by killing himself, but he was saved by Melina. He started looking after her, and then he knew at that point that that's why he was saved. He was saved because he had to save the world and sacrifice himself. And he flies because flame on Johnny Flame, Johnny Storm. So yeah, that's I don't know if I helped out with anything. I probably didn't. But yeah.
No, you did. I think I agree with you that I feel like that was the idea. Like, I think that was obviously, I mean, we all kind of called it the last time we talked. We thought that he was going to die in the end because he was going to have to make up for everything bad that he's done. I don't think that idea was bad for him, but the way that they did it was not good enough.
Okay. That's fair enough.
So speaking of other movie references, did anybody else during that scene where Nathan freezes the room and starts going around and moving things and popping people around, did anybody else hear Time in a Bottle and think Quicksilver, Days of Future Past?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Though I found it hilarious how slowly he was doing that. It's like, you could just be doing that a lot faster. He was like surveying each one of them. Like, okay, where am I going to send you? Just pop them somewhere. Don't even think about it. Just you don't care. So yeah.
No.
And why cut off Erica's Apple Watch? Isn't she screwed anyways, being in the future?
Because he was teleporting everyone back from the future. He only had teleported the people in the room. He hadn't teleported the rest of the people that were kind of in Gateway. So he had to take off her watch, so she stayed there. So yeah, that's
and suddenly he's a samurai with that kind of precision cutting.
If you're going to kind of think about it in like the fact that he's quote unquote Nathan now, he's probably had some training from Heroes. So yeah, that's how I'm going to do it. Are there any more gripes or any more that kind of spring to mind before we kind of hopefully talk about some good things about the show?
Yes, good things.
You remember in the early marketing for I think it was the Super Bowl commercial last year, where it showed both HRG and Luke like in the Arctic,
Yeah, that
parkas
yeah.
and everything, watching Melina control
Yeah.
the Northern Lights. That never happened.
Yeah.
That was just a teaser trailer, though.
But still, because of that teaser, that's a moment you kind of would have anticipated happening at some point, but it didn't. So I find that kind of amusing. But that was
in that trailer. They did also say coming summer 2015, which that didn't happen. So yeah,
it's like the Legends of Tomorrow proof of concept trailer, basically, is what it was, where they had the Flash and Arrow. I've heard people complaining about this too. So it was just a proof of concept trailer. That's all that was.
Yeah, a proof of concept
to get people
trailer.
interested.
They shot that entire thing in 2 days. That proof of concept trailer.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Any more gripes?
I have one more.
Go for it.
I think one of my bigger problems is that, like, there were, I guess, for lack of a better word, like showdowns that I kind of wanted to see that didn't pay off at all. I mean, Luke and Joanne is a perfect example.
Can I just interject? Sorry. I think they had that break in between. And I honestly think, in my mind, they saw that people were just not responding to Joanne as much as they hoped. And they were just like, you know what? We can kill some time. Let's just take her out as quickly as possible. And hopefully people rejoice. Whereas it kind of had the opposite, where people were just like, well, I hate Joanne, and why is she being killed so quickly? It kind of had the opposite effect. But
yeah.
They were reading all my recaps for every single time I mentioned how much I hated that storyline.
But that's the whole thing. If you hate a character, I mean, it's the same thing kind of with Phoebe. Like, Phoebe, we all keep saying maybe had like the most satisfying ending because we all wanted to see her shot and killed. But I mean, but that's the whole thing. When you hate someone, I mean, look at like Joffrey, like in Game of Thrones, like everyone hated him. But like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, if it's a bad person, like a bad villain, or even if it's not a good enough villain for you, you want like a satisfying ending. You know, like even with Phoebe, I would have loved to see her have a showdown somehow with some other Evo, you know, fighting their powers. I mean, with people who have any kind of show or movie with people who have quote unquote powers, that's all everyone wants to see. You know, like you want to see like fireworks essentially. And there were so many, like, there was nothing. Yeah, there was nothing between Luke and Joanne. There was nothing with Phoebe. I mean, even like Melina at the end basically ended up doing all the work by herself while Tommy hopped around in time.
Yeah.
So it just wasted opportunity, I think.
If you wanna watch something, watch the end of season 1 of Heroes and just see how disappointed you are, because it's kind of exactly the same. I was happy with this episode because there were powers, as opposed to the season 1, the proper Heroes Prime season 1.
Just standing around looking at the sky.
I will defend How to Stop an
Exploding
Man.
Oh, here we go.
Till my dying breath. All right.
Fair enough.
I will defend that. That was the finale that season deserved. Everyone wanted a big superpower extravaganza, but what made it worthwhile was that once they got to Kirby Plaza and everyone was there in the area, like basically representative of each major storyline, got at least one shot in at Siler before Peter went in for the kill
for the punch.
So the punch.
I've never thought about it that way. That's quite a good way. Maybe I will start thinking about it that way, but no, because the door. Because we might as well just close the door on that. Yuck. Is there anything else we want to talk about? We've spent 45 minutes? Yeah.
This season never had a sense of urgency to it that first season had. The first episode back from the hiatus, where it ends with the characters in 3 different cars traveling towards Odessa, and it has the mileages on the car. That's what was missing from the entire season, like the sense of like a counting clock or something impending. And
I think every now and then they did say I've done this. We've got 3 days. We've got 2 days. It was really minor, and I think they did a lot of stuff in the background as well, which I don't think people did pick up, like the newscasts and stuff like that. So yeah, That's just me.
But
Yeah, I did feel like the pacing was off. There was like, a couple of really slow episodes, and then the last two were really jam-packed.
Did we never watch the original Heroes season? Because you should have expected some of this. But yeah, sorry, Daniel.
But and really, I feel like I liked certain aspects of the season, but nothing that occurred in these 13 episodes ever transcended past outside the core fan base. There's nothing that ever got other people out, like devoted watchers, talking about it. There's nothing in the column or whatever I wrote after the show was basically canceled but not canceled. Was that nothing ever happened? There was nothing in it that would have gotten anyone talking around a water cooler. Nothing happened that would have launched 1,000 think pieces. Everything was just so self-contained within the fan base that the show basically already had. And it's hard to do that when you're competing in a crowded marketplace of all of the DC shows and the Netflix
All the Marvel
shows
now too.
Yeah.
And
Marvel doesn't count.
Let's be honest though, I was really worried about the finale in the fact that it was going up against the Legends of Tomorrow, and the ratings still kind of held strong. So
I didn't even realize that was happening until the day I was like, oh, this is going head to head with Legends of Tomorrow. That sucks.
Yeah.
I watched it on demand the next day.
Which one?
So did I.
Legends or
Legends of Tomorrow.
Okay.
I wasn't going to miss the finale. No.
fair enough?
Yeah.
I
wasn't
begrudgingly
convinced
live tweeted and made a note of it.
Okay.
But that month off was just completely like I had like the week that it came back. I had to constantly remind myself that it's coming back for that final 3 episodes. It just felt it got to the point where it was just I had to go out of my way to watch it.
And it wasn't appointment viewing like it used to be for you, because you said before you've only missed 2 live. So yeah, you remember that? Yeah, it was. Yeah, that month off was just. Thanks a lot, Wiz musical. I really do think that it's because of the summer 2015, which I think it was originally meant to be a summer show, and then they saw like what they had filmed or started to film for the pilot, and they were like, no, let's bump this up, and they just didn't really think about what would happen. Like, I think it was just a scramble by the network of trying to give them a bit more time to kind of make this the best show that they could. And while it wasn't, at least, the kind of, I know a lot of people argue about how bad the special effects are, but for a TV,
Still better than season 4.
yeah. And so, I think that NBC did give them quite a bit of leeway, and that's all you can really ask for, especially after, season 2 of Heroes, where they kind of had trapped them into keeping these characters about. So yeah.
Hey! At least we got a season of Heroes where Adrian Pasdar didn't die.
Exactly. Yes. Oh, yeah. So, do we have any more gripes?
One
No,
other
stop asking
minor,
that question.
minor,
One more.
just a
Come on.
minor one.
One
Come
more.
on, just
Come
one
on.
little one.
I'm going to shoot this down straight away. Come on, let's go.
Okay. So Melina.
Yes, I agree.
She's like okay. That's it.
No, I totally agree. I know what you're going to say, but yeah.
Her power takes like 10 minutes to warm up. She sits there and she's like spinning her hands around and all this business to make things happen, and so when they were in the auditorium and she's got a gun pointed at her, she's like, ooh, I'm gonna do my powers, and like 30 seconds later she still hasn't done anything and she gets shot. Like, what a lame power that you can't like immediately do.
Can we talk about the literal flaming tornado of garbage that she produced? So yeah, let's just leave that at that.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a metaphor.
Yeah, and we think Melina very very much in the kind of Heroes kind of vein. Being a female character, a pop that isn't named Claire Bennett. She was quite underdeveloped, I think, especially for someone who was apparently so important. And I also think it was not a cop out, but she did all the work. Like Shannon said, she did all the work, and Tommy comes in and saves the day. Tommy's the one who works everything out. And I felt, if we were going to get so little of Melina in the beginning, at least give her the big, not send off, but, give her the reason to be the one to save the world. But yeah, that's enough about that. Good
I
stuff.
wanted her to kill Tommy.
Good stuff. Is there anything good that we can talk about apart from that it's over? Is there any good things that we can? And I'm the hero's apologist here. Because I'm trying to get all these jokes out before anyone else pulls them out. So yeah.
I will say there. I mean, there is good stuff.
Yeah.
As much as I loved every single episode to bitch and complain and moan, at least I had something to bitch and complain and moan about. And it kind of felt like I was part of not elite, but sort of a special group because I had watched the original show and it was like, oh, they're going to try it again and they're going to bring some of the characters back. They're going to try some new stuff. And I was just really interested to see if it would work. And so it was good to see HRG and Hero and some of these other characters come back and get back into that space of arguing about things like, oh no, Matt Parkman, why are you doing,
And Silas the father. No, he's not. I completely agree. And I really liked what they did with the new characters for most of them anyway. They upgraded them in some respects, Molly, or they completely changed them. And the only person I think who kind of got shortchanged was Mahinda. But what can you do? Daniel, do you have anything good you want to bring up about the show?
Oh, I mean, what you guys said, it's like I remember 2010, the final episode airing, and us not knowing it was the final episode. And I wrote my column, last week after it was again canceled, but not canceled apparently. It's like, oh yeah, I'm glad we're actually getting a definitive finale. That's what I wanted back in 2010. But now I don't know if it was the definitive finale. So, but no, I loved seeing Jack Coleman as HRG again. He didn't miss a beat. I really liked seeing Hiro Nakamura as an adopted father. I wish there could have been like a full episode of him training Nathan. I think that would have been really cool.
If you rewatch the kind of memory board, you see him kind of in painting form at least, teaching him how to ride a bike on the left hand side, which I really, really enjoyed. So yeah.
I missed that. They showed the painting of Hiro going up against a dinosaur,
and then they cut to him playing with the dinosaur. I thought that was.
Oh, they did. Oh, they did. Okay, I didn't catch that. Okay, that's cool. But like, I think from the entire season, the moment that got me emotionally the most was when Hiro gives Nathan the Ninth Wonder comic. Because I mean, wasn't it the comic that he got when he went to New York City? So yeah, that was a gut punch, but in a good way. Because that will have been 10 years ago this September, guys. Yeah. Just so.
We've still got June 13th to watch on June 13th, maybe. Who knows?
I loved the June 13th stuff, especially part 1, because it felt like a classic season 1 episode, right down to the music that just wasn't anywhere else in the season. Right down to the cliffhanger with Noah jumping at his future self and the cut to black. There was good stuff, but it took a while to get to that good stuff, and then they forgot about the good stuff. I wish the original characters had been treated better. Ooh. I did like getting to see Greg Grunberg get to chew up some scenery as a morally gray Matt Parkman, even if he's still
he's a ditch. Someone help me!
In a ditch.
At the end of the day, they made him like kind of evil Parkman, but they not killed him off, but they kept him in that kind of Parkman's a chump kind of vein at the end, didn't they? So,
but his motives were more believable than Erica's. Yeah, in that 11th hour. Oh yeah, here you go.
We were just missing Lisa Lackey putting him down. Janice, sorry.
Janice.
Oh, but I'm glad that I got to experience the Heroes world again for 13 more episodes. It's a show that meant a lot to me during those first 4 years, and it felt good. But I'm glad we got it. So but it will still feel like I wrote in my column. My first sentence was, "A year from now, this will all feel like a dream. A dream Angela Petrelli didn't feel was important enough to tell us."
Fair enough.
But yeah,
Cool. Shannon?
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely there. I definitely think there was good stuff in it. I mean, like I said, I've been saying the whole time, I was a big fan of Quentin the whole time. I really think every scene with him I liked for the most part. And him and HRG together was great in the beginning. I mean, you guys were talking about like the most emotional scene. Mine was when he died. Like when he
that's
died.
number 2.
That really got me. So that, I mean, I feel like, I don't know, for me, I mean, you guys are way bigger Hero fans than I am. For me, I felt like, I mean, that first episode was great to me. Like, I loved that first episode. I was so psyched about it. So I feel like it started strong and then just kind of fell off continuously. But yeah, there were definitely like I said, I mean, I really enjoyed like pretty much all of the cast. I think everyone did with what they were given. Everyone did really well. I mean, even Ryan Guzman, poor Ryan Guzman, who had the most like pointless character of all time, possibly. I think he did what he could with it, and I don't know.
I think the intention was good with Ryan Guzman's character, the whole kind of superhero human, and it gave us something that I think him pairing up with Micah was a good thing, because Micah had always wanted to be that kind of superhero, and you know, it gave us our first costumed superhero, I guess. It just seems like they were like, well, we're going to make a comic about him, so why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that I still believe that there were so many good ideas for this, and I don't know if it's due to not having enough episodes or just whatever reason. I think the idea was good, and I think some of the intentions in the beginning, and like you guys said, like the first, specifically the first June 13th episode was really great. But at the end of the day, I mean, I am disappointed, and I'm kind of like, was this necessary? Was this really something that you should have given the fans? Because now there's just more questions. Like, we had questions in the beginning, and now there's just more. So I don't know. I don't know.
That's fine. Lilith.
So, of course, we have Quentin. You know, when I think about it, if I rationalize it out, HRG had the perfect arc. I'm sad that he's gone, but at least he went out like a hero. I'm really glad for all the extra content that we got with the mobile game, the other games, and the books and the new comics. Of course, the webisodes.
Oh yeah.
It just expanded the universe, and I think that that's the best way to tell stories. Actually, is the extended content in the Heroes universe, because they have less restrictions than the TV show. I really do. I was kind of bitter about having to pay all this extra money, but honestly, they're all worth it. It adds so many different layers to the universe, and I'm still looking forward to Heroes Reloaded or Redo 2-3 years from now, not next year. Just give me a break in between. Maybe give me a couple comic books and a few ebooks in between until then, and keep the universe going and try to answer some of the questions. I really feel like that's what Tim was setting up at the end of that. I don't think that that's what necessarily the next, if we ever get it, miniseries is going to be about, but just to open up the universe, and so he can tell these different stories in the different ways that he likes to do it.
I'm also going to go with Quentin because, you know, Jesus Christ, Henry Zabrowski was great in this series, and I think he's the perfect kind of lead for that HRG role in the next kind of iteration, if there is one. The webisode series was just one of the best webisodes that they've ever put out. June 13th, of course. I appreciated the premiere, the first part of the premiere, not the second part.
Same thing with June 13th.
Yeah. I actually quite liked the finale. I liked and hated it at the same time, but for all the right reasons. And what else? I really liked some of the characterization in some of them, like the whole Phoebe and Quentin relationship was really good. I really liked Tommy. He really took a while to get going, and I'm really surprised that he had that bigger part. And yeah, I I'm invested for another season. But yeah, I guess that's it. So, is there anything else we want to talk about, or we all golden?
I don't think my heart could take another season.
The only thing that could get me excited for any kind of continuation and would be Peter Petrelli.
Mm-hmm.
That's
He's not
about it. I mean, you never know. But like if Melina and Nathan's lives are truly at stake from their own father, which I would love to know how they explain that their lives are in danger from their own father.
Well, that's a hook.
It'd be nice to see their uncle come in and protect them. So, but
yeah, well, they did say that no one could protect him, but
no, not uncle,
great
uncle, yeah. That's really the only thing, unless they said, "Oh, guys, Hiro Nakamura's still alive."
You know what's going to happen? They're going to say the only person who can protect you is this vigilante in Los Angeles, and his name is El Vengador. So yeah.
No.
Cool.
Yeah, but Peter Petrelli and Hiro Nakamura, those are the only things that could get me excited.
Fair enough. Cool. I think we are good to go. So, do you guys want to hit us with your social media accounts? Ty, do you want to start us off?
So I write about Heroes Reborn and some other stuff for Flickering Myth and a couple of other websites. You can hit me up on Twitter at TAIFRELIGH, and I'll see you there.
Cool. Shannon?
I write for the Nerd Machine, not Heroes anymore, obviously, because it's over, but some other stuff. And my Twitter is Shannon, SHANNON, Fox, like the animal. Cool. And that's it.
Daniel?
I did write the reviews at HeroSite.net, but the show's over, so I don't anymore. And if you're a fan of NASCAR, I write about NASCAR at NBCSports.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at Daniel McFadin, all lowercase, one word, and my last name is spelled McFadin.
All right, so that was our roundtable with our reviewers. We hope you found it entertaining and informative, and hopefully you were shaking your head in agreement with most of the stuff because they were totally right. So, until next time.
Keep the rebellion alive.